Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. So recently I decided to get myself a new Vise. Well, not so new. I decided to go for a vintage record 52.5p Vise, which you see here on my workbench. So in this video I'd like to show you how I went about restoring it. So I recently picked up this record 52.5p Vise. It's a plain screw version, quite old, from eBay for the bargain price of £22. It was fairly local to me, so I couldn't resist. I had to go and pick it up. So my previous Vise was an Irwin record V175, and that's a great little Vise, but I wanted something with more capacity for larger workpieces. So I started off with the WD-40, loosening up the bolts and general parts just to get everything moving. The back jaw was held on with some screws and they came out easily. And the front jaw was held on by the original bolts, I think, and they were a bit more difficult to get out. They needed a bit more persuasion. So I took my time, kept adding WD-40 and letting it soak in. And then I could get this last bolt out. Now to dismantle the Vise, first I need to remove this pin at the back. So I took a hacksaw to it and then hit it with a nail set just to get it out, and then I could remove the two washers and the metal end cap. Then I could remove the screw and start to give this a good clean. And I was pretty surprised to see how long the screw was. I wasn't expecting it to be this long, but that's great. That should give me plenty of clamping capacity. And then the back piece of the Vise slid away from the front piece. Again, WD-40 here, just loosening up all the rust. And then I attacked the rust with a wire brush. Then I moved on to a wire wheel in the drill, quite a coarse wire wheel, and I just took my time here and started to blast away all of that rust. And it turned out quite nice, quite shiny, almost as good as new. Now for these rails, I'm just soaking them in WD-40 again and then giving them a blast with the wire wheel. And then I took some sandpaper and just got all that rust out of those awkward areas. I then used a knife to remove some sort of lumps of paint and stains from the surface of the original paint. And then again I used the wire brush just to blast all of the original paint. I don't need to remove the paint. I think it'll be fine. I'm going to spray over the top of this. And I use different sizes of wire wheel to get into the awkward spots. and then finished up with some hand sanding. I then gave it all a hoovering to get all the bits up, and I cleaned up this other piece and the back portion of the vise in the same way. So now before I paint it, I gave the whole thing a rubbing down with a cloth soaked in some white spirit just to clean up the surfaces. So for the finish, I decided to go with this midnight blue spray paint. It said on the can that it has excellent coverage on metal, so I thought I'd give it a go. I gave everything around 3 or 4 coats in the end, coated it up nicely. Every 10 minutes or so, added another coat. I used some masking tape to cover up those rails to avoid them getting covered in spray paint. So once the paint was dry, I could remove the masking tape. And that was the restoration finished, and now it's all ready to reassemble and attach to my workbench. Okay, so that is about it for this video then. So that is the vise all restored and ready to use. In a future video I'll be showing how I installed the vise to the bench, so look out for that in a future video. So all in all, I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. It's quite a bit of work sometimes to get an old vise restored to work in order again, but I do think that maybe the old vises not only look nicer than new vises, but they may be a little bit better quality too. That is just my opinion. Let me know what you think, but I think it turned out great. It's a really useful vise. It's got plenty of capacity for what I do, and I think it looks great too, so I'm pleased with it. So if you did like this video, please remember to like the video and also consider subscribing for more DIY related videos. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.